Well, hello, people. Yeah, you're tuned into Radio Warwickshire with me, Kurt Pigstone, aka Dougie Stone, for my Tuesday business show. Got a great show today for you. And as always, you're listening to... Oh, yeah. Sing it again. Yeah, on today I've got a great guy called Crossley, Uncle Croz, the mindset technician, absolutely brilliant guy, helps lots of people out. And anyway, just a quick one, it is World Mental Health Day. Not that it makes a difference I've got Croz on, but that's what it is. Yeah, great interview with Croz, so let's get on with the conversation. Right, this evening I've got, he's been on my show before, but I've managed to get him again because he's got a few things going on at the minute. So, good evening, Croz.
Good evening, Kirk. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. For those that obviously don't know you, and lots of people do, you like to give them a quick synopsis of who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm called myself the mindset technician, and what I do is I get into people's heads and clear out all the rubbish that holds them back.
Yeah.
And just give them clarity into where they're going. And as you know, I got my education when at 43-year-old, I went absolutely skint. I thought I was skint. Then I worked for 2 years to get rid of my last 250,000 being a daughter, so that I was actually finally skint. So
Yeah.
I learned all about the perception of wealth.
Yeah.
I thought I was skint, and everyone else thought I was rich.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? Bizarre your own perception of what is rich and not is, and what's not rich, isn't it? Because, you know, I'm not rolling in it, but other people would look at me and go, "Oh, you're doing all right." It's weird. It's weird, isn't it?
And that's basically it. And it was my journey back from that position of losing everything that's given me the knowledge that I use now to help other people.
Yeah.
But there was a little discussion yesterday about success.
Yeah, there was, and obviously people listening won't know what it is. It was we're obviously part of a thing that Craig Petty's setting up, which is focused predominantly on those people that need help in the business that can't afford the £1,000 a day ridiculous business coaches. You know, because people can't afford it, can't always afford that. But the very people are the people that need it. So Craig's done this thing where we're all involved, and he's found people with relative expertise in their area. And then we had a bit of an internet troll saying, "How dare you? What are these people aren't successful? They've not got a Bentley like me." So,
Yeah, I think the funniest thing about that was that when Paul Thompson did his investigation and he found out, the guy said, "I've got 4 businesses." He said, then he checked with Companies House. He said, "Yeah, 2 of them have been are insolvent. One of them's not trading." So it's once again, it's I finding that Facebook can be a very, very strange place where people can actually position themselves to somewhere they're not.
Yeah, exactly. And like the response I had was, well, my view of success is I can do, like you say, I can do what I want when I want, you know, living comfortably. You know, after a certain amount of money, it becomes irrelevant, doesn't it? You know, if you give
precisely,
if you've got enough to do everything you need to do, if someone gives you another £5,000 or 10 grand or 100,000, it doesn't do anything, does it? It doesn't. People are probably listening to me now going, "Are you bonkers?" But it doesn't do anything else, does it? What does it do?
And it's funny that at one point in my life, and it's happened a couple of times when I sold a business and when I sold up coming back from Australia, where in excess of $1 million was in an account in one bit. And it's funny that at some point in my life, $1 million being in my account could have actually, you know, made me do a lot of funny things. Yet at that point in my life, it didn't actually change what I wanted to do, which sounds very flash, but it's it's the truth. It didn't actually change what I wanted to do. So I wonder sometimes what keeps driving people to get more and more and more.
Yeah.
With saying that when I get to the next point, everything will be all right, and it very rarely is. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's bizarre, and obviously, for those people that don't know, you're listening out there, go and check Croz out. I've been on one of his course days. I was a bit confused, and I came away very. I've got a lot of experience. I've got a lot of knowledge. I've done a lot of things in business and work and career, and it just drove. Your course just dragged everything together, and it's
that's it.
almost laser pointed me to the point where I want to go. It's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous what it's done. It's phenomenal, phenomenal.
Yeah. And it, well, and that's and as I say to everybody, Kirk, it's I just give you the tools and the information, but it's the people that do it. And I've just come off the phone actually to a client, and I say to all my clients, I deal in results,
Mm,
and I'll very soon pick up whether you're a fraud or not.
yeah.
If you don't want to put in the work to make it happen, I don't really want to be involved because at the end of the day, I've got better things to do.
Yeah,
But anyone that I see trying, then this stuff is very, very powerful,
yeah,
and it can move people from to clarity. And once you've got that clarity, everything changes and your life just moves on at such a pace as you're experiencing now. You know where
yeah,
you're going.
and without going into all the details and everything, but I think you talk about being in that confusion and being in that place where you're on a walking on you're on a road or you're on a footpath, and I now feel like I'm on this path, this footpath, and there's absolutely nothing in front of me. There's loads of things next to me try to knock me
Yeah,
off, but I'm just like I can't explain it. You have to feel it to know it, but I just know exactly where I'm going, and sometimes I don't know how I'm getting there, but I'm getting there, and I just keep putting one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other, and I'm just getting closer to it all the time.
yeah,
It's amazing, amazing, it really
yeah,
is.
yeah. But and that is the most powerful thing that you can have, and that is the clear mental image.
Yeah.
Because I talk to people and they say I'm lost. I said, well, where are you going? They say, I don't know. Well, how can you be lost? If you don't know where you're going, you can't be lost. You're just in a state of flux. So that one of the first things to do is, and if you are lost, if you know where you're going, guess what?
Mm,
You can get back on track. If you
exactly.
don't know where you're going, that's when the confusion, the depression, the anxiety comes in because people don't know where they're going. And
Yeah.
as soon as you clarify that, everything changes.
Yeah. Definitely does. And other people look at you and go, "What's?" I mean, I've had a lot of feedback in the last I'll say we're 8 months into the year now, but I've had a lot of feedback from people that I've not seen for a bit, or I've bumped into them. They go, "What's happened?" Like you've just totally what you're doing is just totally. You've not what I'm doing's changed, but they can see the distinct change in my attitude and what I'm actually doing, which is good, isn't it? Really, I suppose.
Yeah, people, how powerful the mindset is. And I said to someone the other day, they said to me, is mindset anything? I said, no, mindset is everything
Mm,
because that determines whether you have a good relationship. It determines whether your business is a success. It depends if you're happy, and it governs everything. And you can't unfortunately, you can't move it from one place to another. It is all encompassing. So
mm,
your mindset to try and section it up into what you've got in your head is what determines what happens to you. And sometimes we forget things, but forget things isn't erasing things. They're still there and they still have power over what you're doing.
yeah.
And once you actually get the ability, which is what you're learning on a day to day, you're focusing. And every time you take something new on, Kurt, it's like a ripple in a pond. Every time you take on something new, it readjusts
Yeah.
all that you done. So a new belief alters all the other beliefs. That's how you get rid of the voices in your head because you talk to someone like me and hopefully explains to you that those voices aren't telling you the truth. They give you a new belief and that goes and sorts out that problem.
Yeah.
And so every time that you believe something new, everything changes in your head moving you forward, because all the stuff that used to hold you back is being changed, because now you know where you're going. So the voices in your head that said you don't know where you're going or you can't do that are disappearing. And when they disappear, all of a sudden it's see, everything's connected, every single thing's connected, and the more clear you are, the quicker you move forward.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's brilliant. And obviously you've got your one reason why I wanted to talk to you as well. Besides all that, is you've written the book on your mindset thing, how to get rich quick, and you've made it
Yeah,
easier to understand, haven't you?
yeah. The science of getting rich in
That's
plain
it.
English, yeah.
That's it.
And actually, my new book, which is just a collection of stories and thoughts, really, called "Tell Us Another:
Yeah,
7 Decades of Knowledge and Wisdom," available
7 decades.
at all the bookstores. So, but in that, I actually have included the science of getting rich in plain English is written in full at the end of the book. So I talk
Oh,
about it in the book, and it's part of the book, complete book in paper form, which is lovely, which is great. And that book, I'm not sure that the actual page isn't done on the website yet, but if anyone did want one, if they just contacted Val
yeah,
on crostalks@gmail.com, then just tell Val, who's my wife, who doesn't know, they just get hold of her and tell her that they want a book. She'll organise it all. And
brilliant, brilliant. No, that's a good idea, that, because putting that at the back of the book, then people can obviously what you've been speaking about can then go and refer to
yeah,
it, can't they?
that's it. Yeah,
I'll go and read that and understand
yeah.
it.
And as I say, it's that 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 book I attribute to having clarified my mind. I've actually learned an awful lot since then. Um, uh, that by utilising what the information in that book and observing what's happened that's what creates the stuff that I use in the course, because I know how difficult some of these things are to do. I mean, they sound very simple,
Mm,
but they're sometimes the hardest thing you have to do, and that is when you have to actually ignore limiting beliefs, when you have to actually do something that you don't know how it's going to turn out. You get that trepidation and this faith in whatever the power is. Um, been used for a lot of evil things over the years, but I
yeah,
believe there is a power that controls everything, and we have got control over that power,
yeah,
and it doesn't fail um, once you know how to utilize it. And that's actually, I'm writing a book at the moment called The Perfect Recipe for Success, which is actually um, my updated thoughts and analogies and what have you.
yeah.
So in book form. But
Oh,
if anyone wanted to learn my updated thoughts and analogies now, they could go to one of my workshops.
yeah, and definitely. Why not? Plug it away, mate. Plug it away. No, seriously, I think I said to you at the time, and I'm not just saying it because you're there, because I've said it to a few people. There's a couple of courses that I've been on that have been really good, and all of them come together. I've needed everything else beside, but I think the money that I spent on your course is the best money I've ever spent on a course, because it's
That's brilliant.
just dragged everything else together and made it make sense. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think I was right. I was in the right frame of mind. I was ready for it, and I think it was it just
yeah,
yeah,
and that is that you've hit a very good point there. Actually, is it's how receptive you are. It's like if you're in a bad mood and you go and watch a film and you're not really in simpatico with the film,
mm.
you say it's a terrible movie, and yet you can be in a different mood a couple of years later and look at it and think, "Oh, how come I didn't like this? This is great."
Yeah, it was
So,
great.
so it's all dependent, really, of how receptive you are as to how you see things, and that's one of the things that we talk about is that you've got to see things for what they are, because we discuss things like truth versus appearance, where sometimes what we see isn't actually what's happening.
Yeah,
So And once you know the full details about the thing, it changes entirely. It might actually be exactly the opposite of what you thought you saw. So it sounds very complicated, but once you know, I'm known for putting things very simply, as you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I try and explain things so that you don't have to suspend belief or sit under a banyan tree chanting with a kaftan on to understand it. You know, it's all very, very basic.
Yeah, and I think what you're right. And I think you talk about, and I've heard a couple of people talk about. I think what people think they have to do when they're doing, say, like your stuff that you do, they think, well, actually, I can't make it simple. I've got to make it like really complicated because
Yeah,
it's got to be complicated, you know. But it
that's
doesn't
it.
have to be complicated, does it?
No,
The simplest. If you can turn something into the most simplistic, you know, lowest denominator
yeah.
that makes sense and still has the information, then that's got to be far better for people to understand and digest, hasn't it?
But there are lots of people, when I finish speaking, come up. I've had a psychiatrist who was an eminent professor at a London university come up to me after and said, I've never ever heard this stuff explained so simple. He said, there's one or two things that you did stretch a little bit. He said, but basically what you're saying is true. He said, but I've never ever heard it explained like that. And you know, and I thought, he said, I could actually tell you the scientific reasons for what you're saying. I said, I'm not interested.
Yeah, because that's then you need to be a scientist to understand it, and what
Yeah,
you're trying to
that's
do
the
is talk to.
complication. I'm not.
Yeah,
I said, I'm not interested.
it's
Thanks very much.
it's a bit like I don't know. It's a bit like a mechanic could tell you the engine, how the engine works, and all the gubbins.
Yeah.
You're not interested, are you?
No.
What do I do? What do I need to do to keep it going? Put
Yeah.
oil in there. This is
Yeah.
where you put the key in, and off you go.
And off you go. Yeah.
That's all you need. We don't need to know, do we?
Yeah.
Don't need to know how the combustion engine works to make it to
No.
use it. We just need to have some basic. You know, if you know that as an example, all you need to know, because I'm not a mechanic, is fuel goes in, a spark comes, ignites the petrol, pushes a piston up, which
Yeah.
drives the engine. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
That's it.
that's all you need to know.
And actually, you just explained that you know an awful lot more than many other people. You talk about pistons and sparks and
Yeah,
fuel. You see, most people they just turn the key,
yeah.
hear the noise, the rev counter goes up, put it in gear, and off you go. And they're not particularly worried about. In fact, I should imagine, asked a lot of people whether the engine's in the front or the back, they wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah. Let me scratch me. Where do you put your bags? Oh, in the back. Right. Okay. It's in the opposite end then. Unless you're driving a Porsche, and that'll be in the back then. Yeah. There's a joke about that in here, but anyway, it's all
Yeah,
right. It's a blonde
spare
joke.
one in the book.
Yeah. It's just spelling in the back. Where's my engine gone?
Long through. Yeah,
Yeah. Never mind. Get told off for that. Yeah. So you're right. I
there
think.
are other cars available.
Yeah, there are Bentleys, I presume, as well. There's some.
Other makes and models are available.
Yeah, definitely. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, which we didn't speak about before, was you're also involved, because last time we spoke, this wasn't about, but you're involved in Now What as well with Brad, are you?
Yeah, yeah, and that's going very, very well. That's well, Brad and I, since we've met, have got this thing about self-development where there's a lot of charlatans that are actually preying on people's vulnerability.
Mm.
And now what is actually a movement that is honest, affordable, and actually letting people know that you don't have to spend lots and lots of money for things to be good and valuable. Um, in fact, I think it's on the 27th of October in the Midlands somewhere.
Yeah.
Is going to be Now What Live, which will be the latest live event. And I think at the moment there's tickets available for that for £100, which is just unheard of in self-development arena for
Yeah.
the amount of value that you get
Yeah.
out of a day.
Yeah, it does, because I know a few people that are going on it, and it makes sense, because, like we were saying before, people that need help can't afford. Like you said, there's a lot of rip-off merchants out there, and
Yeah,
I've seen a few people talking about it, and the fact that it's an affordable price that people can pay and go, for a full day and all the content they're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys aren't going to do it for nothing because you're all in business and you've got, you know, so
Well, and also the thing is, the way Brad does it, it costs a bloody fortune to put the show on.
I
There's
know,
all
I know
smoke
that,
machines and God knows what. It's an event in itself.
yeah,
It's but he's a bit of a showman, and he he does do these things very well. The last one we did in a cinema in Reading, and that actually was a bit strange because the acoustics in a cinema are very deadening.
ah,
So, so when you're on stage, you couldn't actually hear any response from the audience because it was all deadened sound. So, because obviously in the cinema they don't want any reverberating, so it's really really brilliant acoustics to stop sound. So I actually work off reaction from the audience, and I was
yeah,
getting no feedback at all. And I'd just done my best joke and didn't even hear anyone laughing. But
wow,
my wife was sitting in the audience, and she said that oh, I was cracking up with that. And yeah, so it was a very very difficult
mm,
gig to do. So it's all a learning curve. But I
yeah,
mean, visually it was brilliant, but for the artists, it was for the people on stage, it
oh,
was quite difficult because of that. So it's all a learning curve.
yeah, it
Um,
is, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense because I saw the photographs and the images come on. It just it looked amazing, and like you
yeah.
say, never think about that because the last thing you want in a cinema is the sound of everything else. So yeah,
Reverberating, yeah.
yes. So where's the next one then? Is that not going to be in a cinema? Is that going?
No, I'm not sure of the venue yet because it's people permitting, but it will be in the Midlands,
Yeah,
and I think there's around 100 people booked at the moment. So by the 27th of October, I should imagine that figure will double,
yeah,
and it will be in a venue suitable to the numbers. But Brad's promised me it's going to be a big, big, big production.
yeah. It
So
will be, won't it?
yeah, this
That's
will
him all.
be
That's him all over, then,
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
But it's and as I say, and there's also a now what club, which is a private group, which is a monthly payment. I think it's £30 or £29 a month,
Yeah,
but you get access to various people. Brad's a business coach. Ian Dixon has just been taken on as an expert.
yeah,
Um, then I can get contacted via the club so that you Brad's contactable, so you get access to people that can help you and give you a little bit of guidance. But they're done in very short. It's not long consultations. I think they're 10-minute
yeah,
consultations. So it's all that's another Brad thing. It's in out off Bob. So it's
yeah.
everyone. All the experts are told that it's got to be 10-minute.
Yeah, but because you need to get your point over. You can end up padding it out, kind of. That's another thing, isn't it? You can have a meeting with someone and pad something out for an hour when
Yeah,
actually you want to be saying, "This is where you're up to. This is what your problem
yeah.
is. This is what I think you should do. Yeah, and this is the tools you need. So, cheers, thanks, get on with it. That sort of
That's
thing.
it.
So, yeah,
And the lovely thing is as well that without all the waffle and padding, it's a lot easier to remember. It's more impactful,
yeah,
So and as I say, it's going well, and it's evolving all the time with different things that they're doing. So it's going really well.
yeah.
And of course, the other thing that's is the other exciting thing is that you and I are involved in on that maximise success with Craig Petty. So
Yeah,
I'm very excited about that. I
yeah,
think that's got some real legs.
yeah. I am as well. I've done two elements for it. One's just a couple of quick ones about podcasting, how to basically what a pod because people are scared of doing it. I think
Yeah,
because it's like a big, it's like the black magic. They think it's black magic,
yeah,
but do you know what? It's like everything else. Once you've done it and understand how it works, then get on with it. And the other thing I'm doing is my 4 steps, which is obviously I've got a big corporate background, which I don't talk about much, and I don't do it in network or anything like that. But spent a long time, a bit like you, didn't realise I was doing four. My wife asked me a couple of years ago, "What do you do?" And I was like, "I'll just go in and make it better." She said, "No, you must do something because you come up." And I do these 4 steps, and I've added a bit of your stuff into it. So at the start, I've
Yeah.
got a clear image, but it's about knowing where you're going, and it's about removing the boulders. Then it's about anyway, it's going to be on there. So yeah, I'm really. And Craig said, yeah, I'd love you to do it. So I did that, and the other week, which was a great experience, and I'm really looking forward to that coming out. So
Yeah.
and you've done it as well. So are you doing yours on the some of the work that
Well,
you.
I've done. Yeah, I've done that. Well, I forget what my thing. You know what I'm like. They just wind me up, and drag me off when they've had
Yeah,
enough.
that's it.
But I've done some business tips.
Yeah,
My niche within the niche, the steps, and all those types of things. I've done about clarity and knowing where
yeah,
you're going, and about the clear mental image, and a few little bits and pieces. But there's 3 modules that have got 4 5-minute videos in each. So there's, well, what's that work out? That's exactly an hour, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's the start. And then I think as it grows, there's monthly things that happen and can all add to it. But very exciting and very, very, very impressed with the website and everything that's been evolved.
Yeah, he took me through that and looked at it, and I'd gone down for a meeting with him before that over something else that we're working on as well, doing some public speaking through one of his sites. But anyway, that's another story. Um, and he said, "Come on, I'll show you this." And I was like, "Oh, I said to him, "This looks brilliant." And
Understandable and basic.
yeah, I tried to make mine as simple, as simplistic as possible. Uh,
There's
yeah,
there's no sort of trying to pretend it's something it isn't. It is what it is, and that is it's information for people that are just starting in business,
yeah,
that can actually go there, and it's so diverse, the information
mm,
that's on there.
yeah,
It's got stuff about networking, it's got stuff about accounts, it's got stuff about setting up companies and all different aspects of business. So it really is interesting, and it's going to be quite exciting to see where it actually ends up.
yeah. Really good. Lots of stuff for people that are. Because obviously my shows about encouraging people to start their own business, especially
Yeah,
dyslexics, and that's why I want to talk to people like you and all this stuff that's going on out there with people I know. I think it's great because I wish I'd have had that, like, a few years ago when I first started. I might have been in a different place now, but hey, I am where I am, and if
yeah,
I'd have been in a different place, and I probably wouldn't have met you guys and all the rest
that's
of it. So yeah, it's
it.
you know,
It's all relevant.
it's
It's
all
all relevant,
it's all relevant. Yeah,
and well, something I always say is accept what you can't change, but change what you can immediately.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's no
Uh,
point worrying about the
the,
past. Is there? Only
the,
the future.
no use raking over the coals. You just say, well, that's it, that's happened.
Yeah,
Let's move on. And funny enough, the quicker that you do that, the better life becomes,
yeah,
because
yeah,
people do drag a lot of things around with them
yeah. They do,
from
they
the
do. I mean,
past.
I've got quite a few bits of personal stuff, and someone said, "Well, why doesn't that bother you?" And I go, "Well, I'm never going to change it, so why bother about it?" Yeah, but
Yeah,
well, but why? It's
yeah,
that person's like that because they're like that. Well, no matter what
yeah.
I say or do, they will always be like that. So why should
That's
I
it.
actually? Well, why get wound up about it? I can't change it. I'll just
We do spend an awful lot of time trying to educate our friends to make sure that they are on the same page as us, don't we?
yeah,
But at the end of the
it's
day, once you accept everyone's different, it's great.
yeah, exactly. So just do what you want to do and be who you want to be. And like you say, and uh, on your course, you've got to have it. Like we started at the start, you need to have a clear image of where you're going. Once you know that, you won't be lost, are you? You'll
That's
be
it.
on the right track.
Precisely, and that, as I say, for your listeners, if they take that away, that is one of the main things that I've learned. Once you know where you're going, you can get there. If you don't know where you're going,
You'll never
you'll
get it.
never get anywhere.
I know you've got a appointment to go to, and
Yeah.
time's flittering away. So, if people are listening and they want to get hold of you, Croz, or they want to know a bit more about you, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Well, you can PM me on Facebook or contact me on Facebook, which is Crossley,
Yep.
Crossley, and you can also get hold of me via crostalks@gmail.com, and Val will then put you in the right place if you want to have a meeting with me or whatever, just let Val know what it is you want to do on that email address, croztalks@gmail.com, and she will sort things out for you. Same address as for the books,
Yeah.
if you want to buy a book at the moment, but that'll all be on the website, which is croz.uk.com, where that's all being redone as well. I'm really going high tech and getting everything sorted now, you see, so watch out. Croz is about.
No, that's really good, and Val's there to keep you in check and look after you, isn't she? Because that's what she does. Yeah.
Well, actually, funny enough, the dedication in the book. This is dedicated to my darling wife, without whose constant nagging.
Your wife is beautiful. She's a lovely person. And
yeah, I think she. Yeah, a lot more people like her better than me.
Well, I didn't like to say Croz, but no, you're great. You make a great, and I think that's vital and important, and something to finish off with. I think whatever you're doing, whatever business you're in, you need a good partner, a business partner, or especially the support from someone on the same page like you've got. And I think it makes a massive difference if you've got that support.
Yeah. We're just getting the hang of it now. 50 years we've been together this year.
Yeah.
1967 we met.
That's amazing, mate. That's absolutely amazing. Right, I'm going to leave you to it because I've got stuff to do. I've got another interview in a minute, and you've got to go out with Val and do whatever you're doing. So have a great weekend. Thanks for spending time with us, Croz, and looking forward to the book. I'm have to order one, and I'll speak to you soon.
And thanks for your time, and talk soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Yeah, it was great to have Croz on the show once again. Go and check him out, please. He's an absolutely wonderful guy, knows what he's talking about. And like I said in the show, pound for pound, money that I've spent on training courses, Croz's course really brought everything together that I'd learned in corporate world and in life and all the rest of it. So he's well worth checking out. Please check out Radio Warwickshire, especially at 10 a.m. every day. So that's radiowarwickshire.com. Or you can find us on the TuneIn Radio app or the Streamer app. And 10 o'clock every day, there's business type live shows on, a bit similar to the conversation with Croz. Every day, social media, business, tech, SEO type stuff. So check it out, Radio Warwickshire, 10 a.m. every day UK time. So if you're in Australia, that's 7 p.m. at night or 6 p.m. at night, depending on the time shift. And in the States, you're about 4 or 5 hours ahead of us. So go and check radiowarwickshire.com out. You'll see the playlist, see where we're at. Or you can also download the Dougie Stone app on Apple iTunes Store or the Google Play Store, and you can send me a request to my shows where I can play music. Obviously, there's no music on this because of copyright, but if you go over to Mixcloud, you can listen to this interview, which has music in between it. So until next week, have a great week, people. Stay safe, and see ya. The Dougie Stone Show.